Welcome to the deep dive. We grab the essential knowledge from complex sources, filter the noise, and give you that surprising context you need.
Yep, to be truly informed.
Today, we're diving into Aboriginal spirituality. We're looking at powerful symbols, deep history, and that profound connection to the land across Canada.
And we're actually going to kick things off with a single object, one that really captures the complex and often contradictory relationship between Indigenous tradition and the Canadian state.
Ah, you mean the eagle feather.
Exactly, the eagle feather.
Okay, let's unpack this because our sources give us these two really powerful contrasting images just 7 years apart. First, you got 1990, Elijah Harper. He's holding that eagle feather, very stoic, in the Manitoba legislature.
Right.
And he uses it basically as this huge symbol of power of representation.
Yeah.
And stops the Meech Lake Accord process.
A massive political statement. The feather as, political force.
Then, fast forward just 7 years to 1997, and you have Melissa Labrador, a Micmac girl. She gets removed from the House of Commons. Why? Because security thought the feather she had might be a weapon.
It's almost hard to believe, isn't it, that same object?
Yeah, it's this unbelievable duality. 1 minute it's a symbol of legitimate nationhood, the next it's feared, seen as potentially aggressive.
So is the core issue here really about recognition?
Or maybe, how can a spiritual object even get genuine political or, legal authority within a secular system? Is that possible?
That's really the central question we're digging into today. Our mission, really, is to get past just the surface of these events.
Right.
We want you to understand the deep meaning behind symbols like the feather, explore the incredible diversity of spiritual beliefs across Canada.
Because it's not monolithic?
Not at all. And also look at the historical challenges, the suppression, but also the powerful revival that's happening now.
Okay, so let's start right there with the feather itself. Beyond the politics, what's the spiritual meaning? What does it represent at its core?
Well, our sources are clear. It's way more than just, decoration or an award.
Huh.
It's a symbol of strength, of recognition.
Right.
It actually gives the holder power, authority to represent their people.
And it's specifically for certain roles.
Yes, typically awarded to those who defend their people or negotiate for them. It signifies that responsibility.
And this is where the spiritual depth really comes in, I think. The belief about the eagle itself.
Absolutely. The core belief is that the eagle flies closest to the creator.
Higher than any other creature.
Exactly. So from that height, it sees everything, all the land. Its presence is seen as a good sign that Mother Earth will, prosper.
What I found fascinating was how the feather physically represents spiritual ideas.
Yeah.
Like duality.
Yes, that's key. It embodies concepts like man and woman, light and dark, summer, winter, that balance of opposites.
How so?
Well, if you just look at a feather, it's naturally divided, right?
Yeah.
Light parts and dark parts. It visually reinforces that idea of balance, even contradiction, being part of life.
And even the structure, the spine of the feather, has meaning.
It does. Elders talk about the spine as the thing holding relationships together.
Okay.
And crucially, it's widest at the bottom, at the base.
Why is that significant?
That symbolizes the start of a relationship. That's when the learning, the trust, the connection,
Yeah.
it's all at its greatest, its widest.
Huh. So the foundation is the most important part for growth, before things get maybe too set.
Precisely. It emphasizes that the critical phase is early on. It's quite profound when you think about it that way.
That layered meaning, it just highlights the complexity here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the eagle connects to the creator up high, what symbol anchors things? What's the spiritual center on Earth, the axis mundi?
That would be the tree. Definitely the tree.
Different trees for different groups.
Yeah. For the Iroquois, the white pine was central. Out on the West Coast, though, it was all about the cedar tree.
Essential for their big plank houses, right?
Yes, and crucially for carving totem poles.
Ah, totem poles. We see them often, these incredible carvings. But what exactly is a totem, spiritually speaking?
A totem is essentially a protective entity. It could be an animal, maybe a plant, sometimes a mythological being.
And it's linked to a specific group.
Right, associated with a particular clan or a whole nation. It's like a spiritual guardian.
And those huge poles on the Northwest coast.
They weren't just art. They were carved with several totems, one above the other, in a specific order. It was a way to tell their history, their lineage, their spiritual agreements.
So like living documents, almost.
Exactly. Physical, symbolic records.
Okay, let's pivot now. Let's go way back to origins. Our sources mention that Aboriginal spirituality doesn't have, like, one single founder.
Correct.
But there are two main ideas about how people first came to be in the Americas.
Right. On one hand, you have the belief held by many indigenous peoples themselves that they came out of this ground.
Meaning?
It's deeply tied to their creation stories. It asserts that their origins are ancient, older than any records, and fundamentally part of this continent.
Okay, inherent to the land itself.
Yes. And then, on the other hand, you have the archaeological theory.
The land bridge there.
Sparing land bridge, yeah. Migration from Asia, maybe somewhere between, say, 35,000 and 15,000 BCE.
So two very different perspectives.
Very different. But the factual takeaway, whichever view you lean towards, is pretty clear.
Which is?
Aboriginal peoples have been in the Americas longer than anyone else, period. We've got archaeological proof, artifacts going back well beyond 10,000 years. It confirms that ancient, continuous presence.
Right. Okay, let's talk core beliefs then. We touched on the creator, but a foundational idea for many groups is animism. Can you define that for us in this context?
Sure. Animism is the belief that everything, not just humans, has a spirit or a soul.
Everything. Like plants, animals?
Plants, animals, rocks, rivers, the wind, you name it. Yeah. Human, non-human, it all has spirit. And importantly, that spirit lives on after death.
That changes everything, doesn't it? If you believe that, harming the environment isn't just bad practice.
It's harming a spiritual entity. It implies a deep responsibility.
And while there's often a belief in one supreme creator, animism also includes other spirits.
Yes, personified spirits that are seen to guide human life, though they're considered less powerful than the ultimate creator.
Like who?
Well, you see figures like the Inuit Sea Woman, who controls the sea animals, or the Iroquois Sky Woman, central to their creation story, the Algonquin revered grandfather. These figures vary.
And these beliefs were really shaped by the local environment, right? Canada's huge. The geography varies wildly.
Absolutely. That diversity is key. It led to very distinct cultural groups, and their spiritual practices reflect their specific environment.
Maybe we can use a few examples to show that diversity.
Good idea. Let's take three main regions. First, the Northeast Woodlands, home to the Iroquois and Algonquin.
Yeah.
Their environment allowed farming alongside hunting. They depended on the three sisters, corn, squash, and beans.
And their spirituality reflects that.
Often, yes. Today, many practice the traditional longhouse religion, which emphasizes Thanksgiving, especially for the harvest. Makes sense, right?
Totally. Now contrast that with the Great Plains.
Completely different world. Their whole existence circled around the buffalo.
Food, shelter, tools.
Everything. Hide for tippies and shields, bones for tools. Even the skull was crucial for the Sundance altar. Their entire spiritual focus was tied to that relationship.
Wow. Okay, third example.
The Northwest Pacific Coast. Groups like the Haida, Tlingit, Salish, their lives revolved around the sea.
And they built those huge cedar plank houses.
Right, and as we talked about, they used those amazing totem poles to record their history and spiritual connections. Again, directly linked to the resources around them, the cedar forests.
That connection between environment and spirituality is so strong, it even shows up in modern government.
You're thinking of Nunavut.
Exactly. Created in 1999, they actively use IQ, right? Inuit Quadjimandrequanjit.
Yes, traditional knowledge, the knowledge of the elders. It's applied to government decisions today.
Which is just incredible. Knowledge passed down for thousands of years being used in the 21st century.
It's a powerful example of resilience and adaptation. And it leads us nicely into thinking about spiritual codes, moral frameworks.
The Iroquois Confederacy comes to mind here. They had quite formalized codes.
They did, starting with the figure known as the peacemaker, Decanowida.
The story is amazing, born of a virgin maiden.
Overcame an evil figure, Tadodaho, planted the tree of peace.
And delivered the great law of peace.
Which was built on three core principles.
Righteousness.
Meaning justice, integrity,
health,
soundness of mind and body.
And power.
Which meant the authority of law and custom. It sounds remarkably like a modern constitution, doesn't it? A sophisticated political and ethical system.
And then later, after European contact and, well, a period of decline for the Iroquois,
things were tough.
You get another key figure, Handsome Lake, a reformer.
Yes, from the Seneca Nation, around 1799. This shows the tradition wasn't static. It could adapt and respond to crisis.
He received the good message.
The Gaiweo, yeah. From heavenly messengers, according to the tradition, it was a moral code aimed squarely at reversing the social problems they were facing.
Problems caused by war and colonialism.
Largely, yes. Despair was widespread. The Gaiweo wasn't just feel-good stuff, it was prescriptive. It told people what to do, what to avoid.
It specifically called out 4 Great and monstrous evils.
It did. Alcohol, called one liga. That was number one.
Introduced by Europeans, causing havoc.
Absolutely. Then witchcraft, black magic, and also abortion.
When you look at that list,
You realize these were the things tearing their communities apart at that specific moment. Handsome Lake's code was a spiritual intervention, an attempt at survival and self-healing.
but that internal strength, that resilience, it ran headfirst into external suppression.
Tragically, yes. The Canadian government for a long time saw these traditions as obstacles. Backward, they thought. Assimilation was the goal.
So they tried to eliminate key rituals. The potlatch was a major target.
Huge target. Banned in 1884. And you have to understand, the potlatch wasn't just a feast.
Right, it was way more than that.
It was their legal system, their social structure, their economic engine all rolled into one. Distributing wealth, confirming status, recounting history through songs and dances. It was fundamental.
So banning it wasn't just about stopping a ceremony.
No! It crippled their whole way of life. It broke down community governance, caused real economic hardship, because sharing wealth was suddenly illegal. It's hard to overstate the damage.
And that ban lasted a long time.
Until 1951. Decades.
And the Sundance was also banned.
Also banned, yeah, late 1880s. This was a major summer festival honoring the sun.
Often involving intense sacrifice, right? The piercing.
Sometimes, yes. Piercing the chest or back, pulling against skewers attached to a central pole. It was seen as a personal sacrifice for the good of the whole community.
A prayer against famine or war or sickness.
Exactly. And the government criminalized it. Think about that. Banning a voluntary act of sacrifice meant to help everyone. It shows just how deep the misunderstanding or maybe the disregard went.
And then, of course, the policy that probably did the most damage to passing on this spiritual lineage.
The residential school system.
Starting way back in the 1830s, forcibly taking children from their families.
The goal was explicit. Kill the Indian in the child. Assimilate them completely.
Eliminate the culture, the language.
Children were punished, often brutally, for any sign of their heritage. Speaking their language could mean, well, horrific things, like having a needle stuck through your tongue.
It created this massive intergenerational trauma that Canada is still grappling with.
Absolutely. It was a deliberate, systematic attempt to sever that connection, to stop the elders from teaching the young.
It's important context, and we should note the Canadian government did issue a formal apology, the Statement of Reconciliation, in 1998, expressing deep regret.
Yes, acknowledging the profound harm caused.
But despite all that, that legacy of suppression, the tradition survived. They're seeing this incredible rebirth today.
They are. The knowledge didn't die out. It was passed on resiliently through specific ways.
It's like rites of passage. The vision quest is still practiced, isn't it?
It is. The vision quest is pretty common across many Aboriginal traditions. It's a key rite of passage, usually into adulthood.
What does it involve?
Typically, purification first, often in a sweat lodge, then going out alone, fasting, praying for days, waiting for guidance.
Waiting for a message from a guardian spirit.
Yes, maybe in the form of an animal or a dream or some natural event.
There's that example of John Firelame Deer, the Sioux holy man. His vision quest basically confirmed his path as a medicine man.
Right. It shows it's not just symbolic. It's seen as a real moment of connection, of finding your destiny.
And key to all this survival is oracy.
Oracy, yes. The ability to speak and understand spoken language fluently.
Because traditionally, these weren't written cultures in the European sense.
Exactly. Prayers, histories, laws, stories, they were held in memory, passed down through retelling by elders, by shamans. They are the knowledge keepers.
Sometimes using aids, right? Like wampum belts or the totem poles we mentioned.
Mnemonic devices, yeah. To help remember complex information accurately. The fact that this knowledge survived centuries of active suppression is just remarkable, a testament to that oral power.
And that resilience is now translating into real authority in some places.
Like the traditional knowledge, the IQ and Nunavut, being consulted by governments.
On big issues, environment, resources, social policy.
It's a huge shift, a regaining of respect and influence.
But friction still pops up in everyday life. The smudging ceremony seems like a clear example.
Definitely. Smudging is about purification. Burning sacred herbs, sweetgrass, tobacco, sage, cedar, and drawing the smoke over yourself or a space.
To clear negativity, connect spiritually.
Right, but then this ancient core practice bumps up against modern rules.
No smoking policies, fire hazard regulations in hospitals, universities, government buildings.
Exactly. It creates this conflict. cultural rights versus institutional rules.
Our sources mention a university that actually banned students for smudging.
They did, and the ban was only overturned after the students took the time to educate the administrators.
Explained it wasn't just smoking. It was prayer. It was identity.
It shows that the struggle for understanding, for accommodation, it's ongoing. It happens at that very practical level.
Yet the continuity is there. You see modern adherents, like the Iroquois students mentioned, Courtney Thomas and Chris Warner.
Yeah, attending longhouse ceremonies, working to keep their language alive, finding strength and connection in their culture, it's happening.
What a journey we've covered. From that contested eagle feather in Parliament, through animism, the diversity shaped by land, the brutal attempts at erasure like the potlatch ban and residential schools.
And yet,
Here we are, talking about a cultural rebirth, the power of orgatoracy, traditional knowledge being valued again. Resilience really is the word.
it is. And if you step back and look at the big picture, these enduring traditions, they offer wisdom that goes beyond Indigenous communities. They offer guidance for all of us making decisions about the future.
How so?
Well, I want to leave you, the listener, with an Iroquois concept. It's called the seventh generation principle.
The seventh generation. That sounds powerful.
It is. It basically says that any decision we make today, we have to consider its impact on the people living 7 generations from now.
Wow. Ensure minimal harm way down the line.
Exactly. Or think about that other belief we touched on. Knowledge was inherent in all things. The world was a library, and its books were the stones, leaves, grass, brooks.
Seeing the world itself as the source of knowledge.
Right. So the question this leaves us with, for you to ponder, is this. How might your own decisions change, whether it's at work, at home, in your community, if you truly operated from that principle of the 7th generation?
Thinking about that long-term impact on those who come after us.
Yeah. How would that shift your perspective, your actions? Something to think about.